is Tia and Cisco, who actually has, where are you? Oh, okay, bye. Okay, so he's got the coolest cover I've ever seen. You should actually bring it up with you when you come. No, I mean, that one's cool too, but the one that you made, just bring it up so people can see it, because it's pretty. There you go. Come on up. Thank you. Look at how nice this is. I know, it's really great. I just want you to.
Hi everybody, my name is Cisco. That's from Big Ass Aliens, my latest book, and I know it's traditional or orthodox that you're supposed to read from your latest works, because then it's like, yeah, you can go get something. But I've written a few, and I want to read from an older work called The Preternaturalist. A little bit of a difference in titles between Preternaturalist, Big Ass Aliens. But, so I'll be reading an excerpt from The Preternaturalist, Chapter 3, which is helpfully titled Exposition. I could hardly believe what I was seeing. The initial shock of waking up where I had pretty much worn off, giving way to sort of a full-body panic. The oddness of the entire situation was disturbing. My most unnerving wasn't so much that this Tatiana girl was here, but she seemed completely comfortable in our alien surroundings. How did I? Matter transference, she replied. I'm sorry? Matter transference. Think of it like those pneumatic tubes they use at the bank drive-thru, but instead of forced air on a plastic tube, it's molecular manipulation of you. She said this matter-of-factly as if it was a reasonable explanation, like I was a weirdo for asking. Like, tubes at the bank? What are you talking about? Where are we? And why are you here? And why am I here? Where is here? And why is Earth all screwed up like that? It's gray and it's black. And my voice cracked in the last few words. As I tried in vain to blink back tears of apprehension, I didn't mean to become so agitated, but the situation was getting to be too much. You know, I'd never had a psychotic break before, so I'm not sure that's what was happening to me in the moment, but I was definitely losing control. Calm down. I brought you here. Wait, are you an alien? No, I'm a member of the cooperative. What does the co-op have to do with this? Not a co-op, the cooperative. Well, actually, the group doesn't have an official name, it's just what most of us call it. She touched the bracelet on her left wrist and a square platform rose from the floor. She sat on it as casually as you would a park bench and motioned for me to sit next to her. I gazed down at the dead earth below, took a deep breath, and walked over cautiously. Her face seemed almost sympathetic, and that was a bit reassuring. I doubted there was anything she could say to adequately explain this bizarre situation, but I had no other choice but to shut up and listen. See, many decades ago, a small group of intellectuals, scientists, theologians, and historians from all over the world met in Chicago under the guise of an educational symposium. The true nature of this meeting was to collect brilliant, uncorrupted minds in one place to discuss contingency measures to avoid a repeat of World War I. Okay. Rather than trust the fate of the species to politicians and military leadership, they created a group to develop and implement world-changing technologies for the betterment of the species. So you're telling me that the secret shadow government that conspiracy nuts always rave about on the internet actually exists? Not exactly. The cooperative wasn't a shadow government. Think of it more of a humanitarian organization. The ultimate humanitarian organization. For nearly a century, we developed all kinds of incredible beneficial technologies. The problem is, we underestimated man's predilection for self-destruction. Well, that and Kaya Thomas. Kaya Thomas is one of the most intellectually gifted human beings in the history of the species. I take it. She's the head of the cooperative? No, not at all. She was a founding member, but became disenfranchised when her work was corrupted. So they formed her own group, and she called it The Ethical. I don't think I followed. She was a founding member, but then quit to start her own co-op. Well, Dr. Thomas had harnessed the power of the atom and mastered fission. She intended her research to be an avenue for relatively endless energy and reduce the world's reliance on fossil fuels. This was in the 20s, mind you. Being a brilliant woman, especially a brilliant black woman in America, she felt safer submitting her works anonymously overseas, where it, along with other research, inspired a brilliant physicist in Rome. Wait, so you're telling me that Enrico Fermi was able to split the atom because some genius black woman in the 20s didn't trust the impact of her work to supersede the bigotry of the times? Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, it was a massive breakthrough. Well, sure it was. That was the last century. Now let's say in the last week, you developed some other technological breakthrough with equally devastating potential. Would you trust that to supersede the bigotry of the average American today? Point taken. The cooperative was going to invite Fermi to join and try to locate him in Italy, but around the same time, Italy's racial laws kicked in. Fermi and his Jewish wife knew that staying there was dangerous, so they headed to the States. So why did the cooperative just recruit him when he got to the US? Well, by the time they realized he relocated, he'd already gotten together with Oppenheimer. Fast forward to July 16, 1945, and the Trinity nuclear detonation validated Kaya Thomas's fears. On August 6th, America nuked Hiroshima. 3 days later, they nuked Nagasaki. The day after that, Kaya left the cooperative and formed the ethical. Jesus, I muttered. A dozen equally horrified members left with her. Now they believe that since mankind can't be trusted, then the ethical should use their brilliance and breakthroughs for personal gains. So sort of like Khan in Star Trek. Sure. Brilliant minds leveraging the brilliant developments and innovation of others to acquire wealth is selfish, but not exactly cause for alarm. It wouldn't have been so bad if they kept their interests selfish, but they kept recruiting to extend their legacy and consolidate power. Over the past few years, the new blood grew bored with the trappings of immense wealth behind the scenes and shifted their focus toward conquest and domination, and well, they won. She motioned to the dull planet beneath us. Wow, you're taking that quite well. Look, I'm sitting in my underwear in a spaceship that you beamed me aboard, and I just saw all the planet's lights go out. Look, man, at this point, I'm a little more than open-minded. That's good to hear. Well, thank you, because this next part involves you. So, wait. See, we have to do something to prevent this. Like, do something. It already happened. Wait, are you saying that this is a time machine? We're going to save the world through time travel? No, it's far more complex than that. Like, more complex than time travel? Well, this vessel uses spatio-temporal displacement via multilinear behavioral dynamics, allowing us to traverse the quantum multiverse. Huh? Well, how much do you know about the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics? How much do you think I know? Okay, Sassy, in the simplest terms, every time you've ever made a decision, every alternative option that you didn't select creates a new reality. You alone are responsible for quadrillions of little potential realities per second. Now, multiply those potential little realities times every living thing that ever existed, and that creates a major potential reality. When it's big enough, a complete alternate plane splits off from one of our own. And that's what we'll be traveling between. Got it? Kind of. See, we're going to find an alternate plane that is identical to ours as possible, minus the global destruction brought on by the epical, and then work within that new reality to nudge it back into alignment with our own, thus preventing the premature apocalypse we're currently floating above. And how can I help? I barely understand what you're saying. So you're going to help in the assessment of our various destinations, so we pick the right alternate plane. You know so much minutia about such a varying range of topics and subjects, you'll see and notice billions of details that I would overlook. And you know how to move digital attention into actual action. I've seen your entire internet activity, all of it. All of it? Yeah, that stuff too, but whatever. That stuff is your business. What's relevant here is that you've got the skills and knowledge to assist me in my mission. Let's see if I got this. I took a deep breath trying to rationalize everything I've just been told. There are alternate worlds. You and I are going to find one that's like ours, except without super intelligent psychopaths who eventually destroy the planet. Then we're going to use digital marketing techniques to prevent any potential superintelligent psychopaths from repeating the end of days on the new world and push that alternate plane of reality back into alignment with our own. Yeah, that about sums it up.